My husband forgot our anniversary. Again. I didn't say anything. That night, his mother called me a burden with a wound that doesn't work while he sat there, silent. I went to bed early, tears on my pillow. In the morning, he was gone. So was my credit card. And so was my dog. A week later, I found a hidden folder on his laptop that made me freeze. But I didn't cry, not this time. I printed every page and booked a table for 3. I didn't say a word when he walked through the door that evening. It was a Tuesday. No flowers. No card. Not even a text. He walked in carrying 2 bags of takeout, dropped them on the counter, and said, "Didn't feel like cooking, right?" It was our 10th wedding anniversary. I just nodded. "Thanks," I said, opening the boxes. Pad thai for me, General Tso's for him. The food was still warm, but I felt cold. He plopped on the couch, turned on the TV, and flipped through channels like it was just any night. I sat beside him in silence, pretending to eat. The taste was off, or maybe I just couldn't feel anything anymore. I watched him chew with his mouth open, eyes glued to the screen, and I knew he had no idea what day it was. Around 7:30, he stood up and said, "Hey, my mom's coming over. She's had a rough week." Of course she was. His mom, Dolores, came over every week and found a new reason to make me feel like I didn't belong in my own home. She hated that we never had kids. She hated that I was quiet. She hated me. I didn't argue. I just cleaned up, set the table, and pulled out the extra chair. When she arrived, she hugged him tight and barely nodded at me. Dinner was quiet at first. She talked about her church group. He talked about some idiot at work. I just ate my cold noodles and stayed small. Then she took a long sip of her wine, looked straight at me, and said, "You're just a burden with a wound that doesn't work. You should have let him go find a real woman years ago." Silence. It hit like a slap, but slower. Like ice sliding down your spine. I didn't even look at her. I looked at him. He stared at his plate. Kept chewing. Didn't say a word. No defense. No reaction. Just quiet. I stood up, went to our room, and shut the door. I didn't slam it. I didn't yell. I lay down fully clothed, faced the wall, and let the tears fall. I didn't sob. It was the kind of crying you do when you know nothing's going to get better. In the morning, I woke up to silence. The house was empty. His shoes were gone. His toothbrush was gone. Lucy's bed was empty. Lucy. My dog. My best friend. I ran to the garage, her leash was gone. My heart dropped lower than it ever had. She'd been my comfort during the miscarriages. Through every lonely night. She slept with me when he wouldn't. And now she was gone too. I grabbed my purse to call him. My credit card was missing. I texted him. Called. Nothing. I waited the whole day. Nothing. It wasn't just a bad fight. He was gone. Just like that. For 3 days, I barely moved. I slept on the couch with a blanket that still smelled like Lucy. I tried to eat, but everything tasted like ash. On the 4th day, I started looking. I searched our closets. The laundry room. His desk. I didn't know what I was looking for, just something. Anything. I opened his laptop. It was unlocked. Lazy password. Same one he'd used for everything for years, our wedding date. That made me laugh. Not a happy laugh. The bitter kind that tastes like metal in your mouth. On his desktop was a folder labeled March_bills_2023. At first I thought it was just receipts. But I clicked it anyway. Inside were more folders. Then PDFs, JPGs, screen captures. I opened one. It was a hotel reservation for 2. Embassy Suites, Dallas. Valentine's weekend. Another was a photo. Him, shirtless. Her, on his lap. Blonde, young, tacky red nails. I zoomed in. Lucy was on the couch beside them, wearing her pink collar. My throat closed. My chest felt like it was collapsing from the inside. I kept opening files. Screenshots of texts. Videos. Emails. Photos. Hotel receipts. Dinner dates. Plane tickets. A vacation to Florida I never knew about. She had 2 kids. He bought them toys. One message said, I never should have married her. You're my real family now. I stopped breathing. Then I started printing. Every page. Every single lie. It took hours. Over 180 pages of betrayal. I put them in a folder. Then I called the restaurant he took me to on our first date. Made a reservation. Table for 3. Friday night. I didn't cry. Not this time. I had cried enough. Friday came. I got there early. I wore the same navy blue dress I wore the night he proposed. It didn't fit the same, it was looser. I guess I'd shrunk in more ways than one. I handed the waiter an envelope and said, give this to me when I say, I think it's time we clear the air. Not before. He nodded. I tipped him $100 up front. They arrived 5 minutes late. He looked surprised to see me. She looked smug. He sat across from me. She sat beside him. He said, what is this? I smiled. Just dinner. I wanted to meet the woman who has my dog. She stiffened. Excuse me? I looked her in the eye. Lucy. She's mine. But we'll get to that. I took a sip of water. First, I think it's time we clear the air. The waiter appeared like magic. Handed me the envelope. I opened it slowly. Then slid the contents across the table. She flipped through the first few pages. Her face dropped. His turned white. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just watched. You two deserve each other, I said. I'm keeping the house. I already changed the locks. You can pick up your stuff next Thursday. My lawyer will be in touch. She looked at him. You said you were getting divorced. I am, he whispered. I was going to tell you, I stood up. Oh, and one more thing. Lucy? She's microchipped. Still in my name. I'll be by to get her this weekend. If you don't give her back, I'll report her stolen. Then I walked out. I didn't look back. I thought walking out of that restaurant would feel like freedom. But the truth is, I didn't feel much of anything at first. Just empty. Numb. I drove home in silence. No music. Just the sound of the tires on the road and my own thoughts spinning. I figured I wouldn't hear from either of them again until the lawyer got involved. But I was wrong. The text started that night. From him, you didn't have to humiliate me like that. We could have talked like adults. You're being cruel. I ignored him. Then came Camilla. From her, you need help. No wonder he left you. We're happy. Move on. She sent a picture of Lucy curled up beside her daughter on the couch. That one hit hard. But I stayed quiet. I sent the picture to my lawyer instead. 2 days later, I was pulling into my driveway when I noticed something off. The lock on my front door looked scratched. My stomach flipped. I walked inside slowly, heart pounding. Drawers were open. My bedroom closet had been rifled through. Jewelry box tipped over. My laptop was gone. So was the box of printouts I had used at the restaurant. I called the police. They came. Took a report. Said there wasn't enough to press charges unless I had video or someone saw something. I checked my security cams. The outdoor one had been unplugged. The officer looked at me and said, "You know who did this, don't you?" I nodded. "I do. They told me to get a restraining order." I did. Filed it the next morning. That's when things really started to twist. A week later, I got a notice in the mail. A court summons. He was trying to sue me for emotional distress and slander. He was claiming I attacked his character and interfered with his new relationship. Camilla filed a claim too, said I harassed her and her children. I sat there holding the papers, hands shaking. But I didn't cry. I called my lawyer. He read the paperwork and laughed, an actual laugh. "They're bluffing," he said. "Trying to scare you." But I wasn't scared. I was furious. I dug deeper. I hired a private investigator. Told him to follow them. Told him I wanted everything. And what he found? Changed the entire game. The private investigator's name was Carl. Older guy. Ex-cop. He was quiet, direct, and didn't waste words. I liked him. He said, "Give me a week. I'll find out if they're hiding anything." He didn't even need that long. 4 days later, he called me and said, "You're gonna want to sit down." I was already sitting. He sent over a file. Inside were photos. One was of my husband, ex-husband, mentally at least, sitting outside a bank in downtown Dallas with Camilla. She was handing him a folder. A different kind of folder. Carl dug up more. Turns out, Camilla had been married too. Still was. Her husband had filed for divorce 6 months ago. But here's the catch, he's suing her for fraud. Because she emptied their joint savings account 2 weeks before leaving. Guess whose name popped up in that lawsuit as a known associate? Yeah. My husband's. Carl said they'd been running some kind of scheme together. She would cozy up to wealthy men nearing divorce, bleed them dry, then leave. And him? He'd show up after the fact to comfort her. Classic con strategy. I didn't want to believe it. I thought he was just a selfish cheater. Turns out, he was more than that. He was her partner. And now they were targeting me. That credit card he took? Already maxed out. In my name. The jewelry missing from my bedroom? Sold. Pawned 2 towns over. Carl even found the pawn ticket with my name still on it. The worst part? They were planning to vanish. Carl found a rental agreement for a small place in Nevada. New names. New phone numbers. He was going by Reed Morrison. She'd already changed her legal name to Camilla Dane. And Lucy? Carl said they were trying to sell her. My dog. He found a listing online. Purebred Beagle. Great with kids, $600 or best offer. That broke me. I didn't cry, but I shook so bad I had to sit on the floor. My hands wouldn't stop. That night, I stopped being sad. I stopped feeling like a victim. I wasn't going to let them run. I made calls. I called my lawyer. I called the police. I even called an old friend from college who worked in animal welfare enforcement. But I also did something else. I made another reservation. Same restaurant. Same table. And I sent them both an invitation. Because if they wanted to steal from me, lie to me, and try to sell my dog, they were going to learn what it feels like to have everything taken away, piece by piece. They showed up. I didn't think they would, but they did. He wore the same damn leather jacket he wore the night we first kissed. Camilla looked like she was playing a role, tight dress, heavy makeup, fake smile. They slid into the booth, same as before. He looked smug. She looked curious. I leaned forward. No folder this time. Just a single piece of paper. You wanted to sue me, I said. You tried to clean out my account. You pawned my jewelry. You took my dog. Camilla crossed her arms. You have no proof. I slid the paper across the table. Actually, I do. It was a notarized statement from Carl. With photos. Video stills. Documents. Names. Addresses. Bank accounts. Pawn shop slips. And that Craigslist ad for Lucy. I smiled. But I didn't come here to argue. I came here to say goodbye. He leaned in. What does that mean? I stood up. Just as the waiter approached. But he wasn't a waiter. He was with the Dallas Police Department. Off duty, but in uniform tonight, just for me. Mr. Hastings? Ms. Dane? We have some questions for you. Their faces dropped. Camilla tried to stand, but the officer blocked her. Another cop came in behind him. I looked at my ex-husband. You took everything from me. But now, I'm taking it all back. They were escorted out in cuffs. Fraud. Theft. Identity crimes. Animal cruelty charges were being reviewed. I went straight to the address Carl found. It was a small apartment on the edge of town. Lucy was there. Locked in a crate, whining. She jumped into my arms the second I opened it. She licked my face, her tail going wild. I broke down. For the first time since it all began, I really cried. But not because I was hurt. Because I was home. The house felt lighter when I brought her back. I slept on clean sheets. I painted the kitchen. I threw out his stupid bar stools he never let me change. But here's where I admit something. I made mistakes too. I stayed too long. I let someone chip away at me. I let silence fill the gaps that should have been filled with truth. I didn't fight for myself until everything was already gone. But I fought back. And I won. He's still facing trial. Camilla took a plea deal. She's banned from opening any financial accounts for 5 years. Her ex-husband is suing her too. My ex? He reached out once from jail. Said he was sorry. I blocked the number. Some people don't deserve closure. Some people only learn when everything burns down. And me? I'm not rebuilding for anyone else this time. Just me. And Lucy.